So we've got a little federal probe action going on. Feds to look into potential fraud and corruption in Southern California homeless funds. And they warn us that if federal laws are broken, they're going to make some arrests. You think anybody's actually going to get arrested for spending money through the homeless funds? I don't know. Let's talk about it. Here we go.
A federal task force has been formed to investigate possible fraud and corruption involving homelessness funds across Southern California. It's being led by the brand new U.S. Attorney, 𝗪𝗧𝗪. Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf spoke to 𝗪𝗪 today. He's live for us in downtown L.A. Matthew.
Well, Alex, a lot of people wonder about all of that money and if it's being spent the way it's supposed to be. Well, we could have some answers here pretty soon. The most visible crisis across California, now the target of a federal investigation.
We will investigate and look at the facts and determine whether any laws were broken.
Newly sworn in U.S. Attorney 𝗪𝗧𝗪 announcing what he calls a homelessness fraud and corruption task force, looking into billions of dollars of homeless funding spent across Southern California and possible fraud, abuse, and corruption.
Despite all the money spent and the audits conducted, there's billions of dollars unaccounted for. Local and state officials cannot give us answers.
A recent independent audit found that LA officials could not accurately track down about $2.3 billion in spending for homeless
Where'd it go?
services.
Don't know.
One more quick question.
As a result, last week, LA County voted to stop funding 𝗪𝗧𝗪, leading to the resignation of CEO Dr. 𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗠𝗪.
Good.
How does $2
She was
billion
terrible.
just go missing?
It doesn't. And we're going to find out where it is. The number of homeless on the streets is increasing with every dollar we spend.
Santa Monica business owner John Alley.
Build it and they will come. Build it and they will come. Is anything really going to come out of this investigation? Well, it's just what I think what's going to happen is you're going to have, well, we spent $24 billion and apparently it didn't work. That's exactly what's going to come of this. Is there any, profiteering and, giving contracts to inside people? Absolutely. It's the homeless industrial complex, right? It's not meant to make homelessness go away. Because if you did, the funding would stop. So where do we find the $24 billion missing? Just basically misspent. Nobody went to Aruba on a vacation. They just spend money on ridiculous stuff that doesn't really help the issue of underscoring how these people became homeless and how do we get them off the streets and how do we get them back.
Supports the new task force.
It's hidden money and it's paybacks. I believe people will end up in jail.
Along with LA County, the task force will investigate Orange, Riverside, San Bernardino, San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara, and Ventura counties.
Big counties.
5,000 homeless people in LA County compared to about 20,000 in the others combined.
We want to have the best prosecutors, the best agents.
So bad.
LA Mayor Karen Bass responding, telling Fox 11, our focus is on outcomes and saving lives. Last year, Los Angeles bucked national increases with a 10% decrease in street homelessness.
There he is, Gavin Newsom, doing work.
Says we share the federal administration's goal of ensuring taxpayer funds are being used effectively to get people off our streets.
And yet they can't account for billions and billions and billions of dollars. I want to know that it's effectively being spent. Where'd it go? Don't really know. Not really sure. Don't ask us too many questions because we don't know. This is California. This is what we're doing.
It's a humanitarian crisis. It's a public trust crisis. And and I think we deserve answers.
He says he's going to use any and all tools, including search warrants. It sounds like all this is going to start very soon. Live tonight, Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
Yeah, Matthew, regular viewers of our show may recognize 𝗪𝗧𝗪. He was just in the assembly with the Republicans where he made news a lot, but didn't have almost any power. He was part of the super minority. Now President Trump has appointed him, and he's got some real power now.
Should be great.
Definitely. We were actually asking him today about his relationship with President Trump. He said he met him when President Trump was here to look at the fires. Actually, President Trump asked for his business card. So sounds like they're definitely trying to start some sort of work.
Doing work.
Yeah, he's been very pro-Trump, and
Geez, what about Trump and those tariffs? All right, we're going to load up a whole bunch of tariffs. Oh, wow, this isn't looking good for the stock market. Let's pull back just a scooch. Let's do a 90-day delay on that. Boom, markets take off 10%, 11%, 7%. Boy, that was gyration yesterday, right? I don't really follow a lot of that, because I'm not retiring today or tomorrow or anytime soon. So I don't really rely on any of the money I've got set aside and, retirement funds. I'll look every now and then. All right, we're up, or no, we're down. And, but the gyrations going on with the economy, with the markets in particular, I should say, those were wild. I mean, Trump can pull some of that stuff off. It'll be entertaining at a minimum to see what's going on. Let's take a look at this. 𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗀 U.S. attorney for L.A. surrounding areas on Tuesday. He's a new gun, and he is looking to make a name for himself, right? He announced formation of a criminal task force. All right, I'm all for it. To investigate potential fraud and corruption involving local homeless funds, saying that there will be arrests if federal laws have been broken. You know what? This is kind of like the whole Tiffany Henyard thing. It's a whole lot of mismanagement and not necessarily outright fraud, outright criminality, but they're just dumping a ton of money into stuff that isn't really going to help out. And that's why if you build it, they will come. And LA has built it, and they continue to come. You've created an inward pull of homeless people. Hey, let's go to LA. They got great weather. Plus they got housing. You name it. They've got it. I mean, if you're in, somewhere in the Midwest and you're homeless and you hear you could go to LA and get housing and free food and free whatever, free healthcare, you name it, free dental work. If you knew that was a thing, go west, young man, go west. You're literally going to do that. U.S. Attorney's Office in L.A. took particular aim at Los Angeles County in a news release announcing the task force, citing millions of dollars in federal funds that have been allocated to address homelessness and a recent court-ordered audit that found major flaws in homeless service. So what happened is you had that court-ordered audit. You've got a judge who is pissed off because he's like, where'd you guys spend this money? We can't tell. Even after this audit, we have no idea where this money is being spent. And so the Los Angeles Housing Service Authority, they basically got shut down. The county's going to take over. I'm sure that's going to go just great. The county is going to take over the money that would have normally gone to the Housing Service Authority. And the CEO of the housing authority that got shut down, she quit. She's like, well, I guess this is a good time for me to go away. Maybe she knew about this probe coming into town, right? Taxpayers deserve answers for where and how their hard-earned money has been spent. If state and local officials can't provide proper oversight and accountability, we will do it for them, he said, a Republican and former state assembly member who was appointed to his post by Attorney General Pam Bondi last week. Trump told Bondi goes, yep, get that young man out there. Get him to do a little probe action on the LA homeless industrial complex, because we all know it's out of control. Hey, Gavin Newsom knows it's out of control. That's why he's hammering on counties. Get your ass in gear. You need to clean this stuff up. This is hideous. This is horrific. A few years ago, during the pandemic, everybody was completely supporting the homeless community, the unhoused, right? Because we were told by CDC in their infinite wisdom, don't clear out the homeless encampments because you might spread the Rona around outside. I mean, what an absolute mismatch of information we received, right? Get the jab, don't get the jab, get the jab. It'll protect you from just a bunch of nonsense. The Homelessness, Fraud, and Corruption Task Force, I love that title, Homelessness, Fraud, and Corruption Task Force. Homelessness, fraud, corruption, it's all right there. It'll investigate crimes related to the misappropriation of federal tax dollars intended to alleviate homelessness in the Central District of California. Covers an estimated 20 million people across 7 counties. Well, you're going to find a handful of instances in there. But bottom line is this going to do anything towards fixing the wildly out of control homeless industrial complex in California? No, it's not. It's not. Because we're not really dealing with the root cause, which is you have built it and they have come. Look at all these people. Where is this? Oh, this is Skid Row in LA. I mean, look at this. You just got a bunch of whacked out drug addicts running around. Got somebody here going down the street with either a garbage can full of garbage or their stuff. Who knows, right? Who knows what the difference is? But look at all these people. Do these people look like they're just, a second away from getting housing and they're going to get out of this situation? No. This is how they want to live. You've literally got thousands and thousands of people living this way. California has I think 187,000 homeless folks, according to the last pit count, which is notoriously unreliable. You've got so many homeless people roaming around out there that you really can't keep up. You just really don't know how many people there are. And, we're doing our best. And no, you're not. No, you're not. LA County has a homeless population of more than 75,000, just LA County alone, of which more than 45,000 are within the city limits of LA. You imagine having 45,000 homeless people? I think Seattle's got 16,000, something like that. Just a mere third. Just a third. According to last year's official count, among the remaining 6 counties in the district, and we heard this, the homeless population is about 21,000 in the other 6 counties. Because everybody goes to LA County because that's where LA is, and that's where you're giving out all the freebies, giving out all the really good stuff. And you got, let's go be homeless in Venice Beach. Let's go be homeless in, it's right by LA, right? Tuesday's announcement comes 1 week after the LA County Board of Supervisors voted to pull more than $300 million out of the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority. That's the authority that got shut down, a city-county agency that oversees contracts for an array of homeless services and spends billions and billions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars in this case, that they were going to be giving to them, but they've spent historically literally billions of dollars. And homelessness still keeps getting worse. Why does it keep getting worse? Because you have created that suction pull, that vacuum. Build it and they will come. They will keep coming. So no matter how much housing you build, no matter how many resources you spit out at the situation, homelessness, it's not going to get better. It's just going to the numbers are going to keep going up because you're not really dealing with people's mental issues, their addiction issues, their criminality. You're not throwing any criminals in jail, not incarcerating people because, that whole justice reform thing. So this isn't going to go anywhere. You're just going to have more spending, more money being spent. You're going to have a Republican swoop in, And not that that's a bad thing, but I don't think they're going to find much. They're just going to find an incredible amount of multi-layered incompetence, which we all know from the get-go, that's what you get in California, right? LA County Supervisor Catherine Barger said that she welcomed the creation of the task force, calling accountability and homelessness spending long overdue. But we don't really want any accountability, because then we'd have to maybe go on this path where we do something that actually eliminates the number of homeless folks we've got on our sidewalks, streets, and parks. And that's the opposite goal of the homeless industrial complex. The goal of the homeless industrial complex is to keep the whole complex going. Just keep it moving along. We're doing the best we can. If we just had more housing, we'd be able to get a foothold and actually be able to get some results, which would be people transitioning from homeless to housed to back on their own because they're working. You know what? With any housing we have moving forward, we should just have it. That's fine. Going to need you to take a urine test, though. Yeah, no booze, no drugs, none of that. Oh, good Lord. Well, I guess I'm going to have to come back in a month. Yeah, righty-o. You're going to get clean? Don't think so there, Junior. Yeah, this action aligns with steps the county just took following a scathing audit Los Angeles Housing Service Authority contracts. It sends a clear message. Public funds meant to serve our most vulnerable must be managed with transparency and integrity. I hear those words so often. You know what it means? Nothing. It means nothing. It's just a bunch of words to say that they know they need to say. All right, we've done a terrible job managing this situation. If we were in the private sector, we would immediately be fired, and every other entity associated with us would be fired, and we would be banished from governmental positions for decades. But that's not what happens. You just have the same people reelected. Oh, yeah, give them some money, give them some money. Let's keep this bad boy going because, good Lord, a lot of people depend on $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 salaries to keep the homeless industrial complex moving forward. I believe this task force will add a much-needed layer of oversight that will help restore public trust and ensure resources actually reach those in need. Citizens in California look around and go, how was $24 billion spent? And it's just basically the same. $33 billion total, I think, by the state of California in the last 5 years. Close to $34 billion. And when asked where the money went, I don't really have a methodology to keep track of all this money. We don't really know. We just do the best we can. We get out there. Could you imagine a business plan? Could you imagine investors asking a business, well, how are we going to figure out where your max profitability is? Yeah, you give us money and we take a shot at, kind of putting this product out the way that we think is, arguably maybe the best, but who really knows? Because we don't really do much in the way of research. We just go off of this failed ideology, which is housing first. And, just slap up a bunch of housing. We hope that it works. Is it working based on what little metrics you do have available to us? No, housing still, it's not meeting the needs of the homeless. So you got homeless still, adding to the population of the other homeless. The new task force will be made up of federal prosecutors from the major fraud section, the public corruption and civil rights section, and civil division civil fraud section. This sounds serious. What are they going to find? I don't think they're going to find much. And the IRS will also assist. I thought they were all fired. No? There's still some IRS agents there. Anyway, Sallier weighed in regularly on the issue of homelessness when he was a state legislator, but he was a Republican, so he wasn't talking to anybody. Because if you're in a blue state and you have an R by your name, nobody cares. Nobody's listening. They just want to listen to all their libtard nonsense and then make votes that are just horrific for the population. And the population goes, yay, so good. Such a great state. In 2023, he spoke against Proposition 1, a bond measure to pay for mental health treatment facilities and housing for the state's homeless population. So you've got all these things that just get thrown at the issue. Let's tax this. Let's do this. Billions of dollars. Nobody knows where it goes. So why would you want to have yet another bond measure to go for stuff that isn't really, it's not made transparent. It's not clear where the money's going at all. We've already spent $23 billion on homelessness and there's nothing to show for it, he said on X at the time. Not untrue. They couldn't really work out where vast majority of the money went. The money is going to build overpriced apartments and to enrich politically connected nonprofits. The same nonprofits that are having their funding cut by Doge. Weird. And the Democrats are really worked up about that. Oh, we got to get Elon out. He's a non-elected official. It's like, really? I mean, honestly, you've got this kind of stuff going on and you're worked up about Elon Musk cutting some funding to a bunch of nonsensical things that have no basis in reality. All right, whatever. Here's an interesting comment. Council member Monica Rodriguez, an outspoken critic of LASA, that's the entity that got shut down, said she wasn't surprised by Tuesday's announcements of this federal probe. Given the findings of the audit presented in federal court, it was only a matter of time before it piqued the interest of federal agencies, she said. So I guess when you spend 24 billion, 33 billion. I mean, who's counting at this point? Let's round it up to a solid 50 billion and call it good, right? Because I'm sure there's other money in there. You voted for parks improvements. LA used the $140 million to manage encampments instead. Money that was allocated for improvements to the park so little Johnny can go on his swing set. They're going to get a new swing set. Instead, they spent it on security, having a bunch of armed guys walking around because there's a lot of nut jobs living in LA's parks. And then also the cleanup. When all the homeless leave, when they get booted out by the cops on a sweep, they leave just tons and tons and tons, literally, of garbage, human fecal matter, needles. It's horrific, right? Echo Lake Park in LA, that was the $600,000 cleanup, I think. When they got cleared out and underneath all the tents had been there for so long that the rats and all the other rodents had burrowed like tunnels underneath their tents. And when they pulled those tents out, all the rats just went scurrying. It's like LA, or it's like, New York City when they take down a big building. All these rats and cockroaches come out because they don't want to get crushed by the falling, and they understand when something's going on, and they just start, clearing out. It's like that. But in LA, but in Seattle, in Portland, when you move out the tents, literally there's a whole bunch of little critters that used to live under there that now have to go find someplace because they've been exposed, right? Just like the ridiculous spending in Los Angeles being exposed. I think literally what happens is it does get exposed, but it's in such a way where you're like, oh, yep. So what we thought was true is that a whole bunch of meathead politicians and NGOs, created an industrial complex, and then they just begged the public for, if we just had some more housing, we could get a handle on this. And they've been doing the same thing over and over and over because they don't really want it to get better, because then you wouldn't have the funding, because it's based on how many homeless people there are. That pit count is so critical. More homeless folks you have in your system, more dollars you get. Pretty basic stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how this probe goes. I don't expect a lot out of it, but hey, at least we're doing it, right? At least we're doing it. That's it for me today. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next episode. Bye for now.